Hello, a very good evening to you. Welcome to ITV News. This is Wednesday night's calendar.
Here are tonight's main stories.
Wounds that won't heal. 50 years after a fire disaster that killed her mother, her best friend and 48 others, this Huddersfield woman returns to the scene, seeking justice.
It doesn't get any easier. I'm waiting for it to get easier. I want to lock it away again. But I've got work to do first.
Not in your backyard, Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak's under fire from Richmond businesses after 4 firms go under in the space of a week.
Businesses that have been viable for years, I mean, we have one in Richmond here, 57 years, they feel that there's just no point continuing on. And I really am slightly concerned that our Prime Minister thinks everything's fine.
Meanwhile, as a Leeds store manager says shoplifters are now out of control, we look at the new AI technology aimed at catching them out before they act.
Be careful what you do, there may be someone watching you. Remember those eyes in the night.
And a song for Yorkshire. After conquering Britain, the White Rosettes aim to become the world's best barbershop group.
So hello, very good evening to you from Chris and from me. First tonight to the story of one woman's 50-year quest for answers and for justice after her mother, her best friend and 48 other holidaymakers died in a fire disaster on the Isle of Man.
Jackie Hallam suffered horrific injuries but managed to escape the flames which ripped through flammable material used to clad the newly built Summerland holiday complex.
Well, Jackie's been at the forefront of a campaign to shine a spotlight on what's widely seen as a forgotten disaster. Today, on the 50th anniversary, she's been back at the scene speaking to Katie Oscroft. And we must warn you, she shares harrowing memories of that day. Well, Katie joins us from Douglas now, close to where Summerland once stood. Katie.
Well, Ian, in 1973, Summerland was one of Europe's largest leisure parks. It was built to revive this island's fortunes of its tourism industry. But incredibly, 50 years after that devastating fire, and this site remains largely untouched, save for the remains of Summerland and another smaller complex built soon after. Now, that is a sore point with people who live here, but more importantly, for people whose relatives died here. Now, one of them is Jackie Hallam from Huddersfield, and when I spoke to her earlier, I found her harrowing account of what happened to her that night hard to listen to. So a warning once again, you may find some details of what she had to say distressing. Back on the Isle of Man and the awful memories return too. Do you still see it?
Yeah. The flashbacks come. The flashbacks come a lot. I see things in my head I don't want to see. There's things in my head that I couldn't even say to anybody.
The heat is starting to build up now and we're a good 100 yards away.
This is what Jackie was caught up in. She was trapped inside this leisure complex.
There was just fire and there was just black. There was nowhere to go and I knew I was on fire. And I just had to jump up and down from one foot to the other to try and ease the pain, and then the next thing I knew, I was waking up on the floor and there was nobody left standing. There were just bodies burning on the floor. And I had to get up and step over them. Step over people's relatives that were burning.
Jackie's mother Lorna was just 35. Her best friend Jane, like her, was 13. They didn't escape. They had come to the island for a summer holiday. It remains a place where old ways endure amongst inevitable modernisation. But 50 years ago today, hundreds of people's lives altered dramatically. Yet an inquiry found that when Summerland was built, the materials used allowed it to go up in flames in minutes. And many believe changes which should have been made have not. What was the scene when you got there?
pandemonium, really.
Alan Christian drove the first fire engine to the scene. He, like many islanders, is drawn to an exhibition about those events half a century ago.
What is so really annoying about it is that this could have been prevented. Because of the way the building was built, the materials that they were used, they should never have been used.
Joan is one of many people on this island who have only just begun to speak about what happened.
It was floor to ceiling, flames. And the crowds were rushing past me and I was just carried along with them. And I felt myself falling. My shoes were dragged off. The chap picked me up and dragged me to my feet and I got out.
She ran a sweet kiosk in the complex with her husband. The Summerland dream was, until the tragedy, working for them.
There was me thinking about a shop we'd lost, and these people had lost their lives. We're 50 years later and we're no further forward.
What motivates you, after 50 years, to put this effort into trying to change things?
To get justice for the 50 people that died, not only my mum and Jane. To get justice, that cannot carry on in the history books as death by misadventure.
Summerland remains a scar, not only on the landscape but on the people who survived this disaster. Jackie was badly burned, but 50 years on, her memories cause her greatest pain.
It doesn't get any easier. I'm waiting for it to get easier. I want to lock it away again. But I've got work to do first.
That work is to secure fresh inquests for her mother, her best friend and 48 other people, and to ensure that finally lessons are learned from Summerland.
Well, let's go back to Katie live on the Isle of Man. Katie, some truly harrowing memories from Jackie there, and we heard she's still pushing for justice 50 years on. Has there been any progress with that?
Well, Chris, first of all, in about half an hour's time, there will be a memorial service right here. It promises to be a short but very emotional ceremony. Jackie Hallam, amongst other people, will say a few words to the people who gathered here. Now, she, like many other people, want this anniversary to focus not just on looking back over 50 years, but on moving forwards and bringing about changes. But to answer your question, the Chief Minister of this island did, a short time before the anniversary, apologise for what happened here, but campaigners want much more than that, and they want it on the behalf of the people who died here and for the people like Jackie Hallam who live with their terrible memories.
Katie Oscroft live on the Isle of Man.
Well, next to the woman who's confronted the Prime Minister over the plight of business owners in his own backyard.
Yes, Rishi Sunak was forced to defend his government's record in helping small businesses and over keeping enough pounds in punters' pockets after it was revealed that 4 independently owned ventures in Richmond have had to close within a week.
Well, one of those who's shutting their doors laid into the Richmond MP on a phone-in on the radio this morning, as Greggy Steele reports.
Richmond sent a postcard to its Prime Minister today, and it wasn't pretty. Concerns here voiced after 7 days that saw 4 family businesses in and around the town announce their closure. 2, including this nursery that was open for more than half a century, have gone already. 2 more, including a hotel and a shop, will be closed by the end of the year. Cue some uncomfortable questions to the Prime Minister about his own constituency then, in a radio interview this morning.
And in one of those businesses, they're losing £10,000 a month. And to quote the business owner, nobody is buying anything. There's no cash, Prime Minister.
Well, look, every business is going to have slightly different circumstances. But as you can actually see, I've been out and about a lot around the country in the last week or two. I was actually just at the beer festival yesterday, talking to lots of landlords, breweries. Many of them were telling me that actually business is good, that footfall is up.
One of the callers to that phone-in, who grew up in the town, not convinced by the Prime Minister's upbeat response.
What planet is he on? I mean, who's he talking to? You don't have to walk far around the marketplace to know that that's just not the reality. I think, sadly, it reflects the fact that that might be what he thinks and wants to know, but it just shows how out of touch he is, really.
This antique shop among the businesses about to call it quits. The owner says she's not actually made money here since Christmas.
June was one of the worst Junes we've ever had. It was like a January. just went on. But we sort of made the decision in April that I said that's going to have to be it.
Around the corner, the Fleece Hotel will be completely closed by the end of September.
The staffing issues that followed COVID and continue to be an enormous problem for us. And then we had obviously the energy crisis, and now we're into very much into a cost of living crisis where we're starting to see, or we have seen, our revenues decrease.
The businesses that have gone under here are all small independent traders, and there's loads of them just around the town square here alone. They're the kinds of businesses that Margaret Thatcher used to champion in the 1980s, and they're the kinds of businesses that people here say right now need special help.
The reasons behind the recent closures are not going away anyway soon. I don't want to think about the fact that we might face further closures, but it's a sad fact that it could well happen.
You need help?
We certainly do.
Heavy weather then, even in this long-standing Yorkshire Tory town, and no sign yet, for some at least, that things are about to get better.
Well, let's join Greggy Steele live in Richmond now in the rain. So, Greg, any sign of any plans by Rishi Sunak to swiftly address some of those concerns so close to home?
Well, certainly not in the immediate future. In fact, he's confirmed his next plans are to head away on a summer holiday. Is he staycationing in Yorkshire, you might well ask? Nope, being the answer to that one. In fact, he says he's heading over to Disneyland with his wife and children. Now, supporters of Rishi Sunak might well point out he's the Prime Minister. He can holiday where he likes, and given the lousy weather we're having at the moment, why not head to somewhere hot and sunny? But what's beyond debate is that when the Prime Minister gets back home, and with an election looming, there are plenty of things in his inbox, not least something of a domestic issue right on his own constituency doorstep. OK,
Greggy Steele, live in Richmond. Thank you.
Well, still to come on the programme tonight. The kids are all right, but how are Doncaster Rovers going to get on when the new football season kicks off at the weekend?
And the weather hasn't really been in tune with the summer season so far, has it? Will we ever see any prolonged sunny spells over the next few days or so? All the detail a little later on.
But first, it's not little things here and there, it's organised crime. The words of a Leeds convenience store manager today as he told Calendar how brazen shoplifting gangs now steal hundreds of pounds worth of goods at a time.
Yes, it seems it's a growing problem right across our region and the whole country, and retailers are calling for tougher action to get it under control.
Well, it may sound something, well, like out of a sci-fi movie, but some stores have begun using artificial intelligence to highlight would-be thieves before a crime is even committed. Kevin Ashford has the story.
Shoplifting has always been a problem at this co-op store in Leeds, but staff say recently it's got worse.
Over the past few years we've seen a real spike in it, and it's at levels now where I've never seen before. And the problem we've got is it's not little things here and there, it's organised crime, you know, it's people coming in to sell on, to use for drug use, you know, looting our stores, taking hundreds of pounds at a time.
It's an issue affecting stores of all sizes. To try to tackle retail crime, staff at this chain now wear body cams and security staff are employed. But the company says there also needs to be a wider response.
I don't think it is enough. I think because of some of what we're seeing is gangs and prolific shoplifters who treat this as their day job. We have a job to do, that's why we're spending money, it's why we're investing. But we need the police to respond when there are these kind of violent incidents or where there are threatening incidents.
The government says it's working closely with retail businesses, security representatives, trade associations and policing to ensure its response to retail crime is as robust as it can be. Some retailers are using artificial intelligence in their fight against crime. Under the system, details of anyone suspected of breaking the law, or for the purposes of this demonstration, me, are uploaded and shared between stores. Using facial recognition, shop staff are alerted when potential lawbreakers come through the door. It's the brainchild of Simon Gordon, who developed the scheme after a series of thefts from customers at his wine bar. It's technology that has had its critics.
Nobody's tracked, you know, people that walk into the store, their data, their biometric data is deleted instantly. We only keep faces on there of people who have stolen for a year. Everything's checked to make sure reasonably suspected of having committed a crime. So we don't just accept any old, oh, I don't like Joe blogs. We go through a whole process to make sure that there's a reason for them going on there.
It's thought the cost of living crisis may be one reason for the increase in shoplifting. Whatever the cause, it's clear many shops are having to make new efforts to tackle the rise in retail crime. Kevin Ashford, ITV News.
More of the day's news now, and the family of a 9-year-old girl who died in a road traffic collision in Halifax last month has paid tribute to her. Alice Williams was using the crossing on King Cross Street close to People's Park on July the 8th. Her family say she was a bright and beautiful girl who brought joy every day. Investigations into the incident continue and police are appealing for witnesses to come forward.
It's been announced every swimming pool in Kirklees is at risk of closure as the amount needed to be spent on essential maintenance is said to be in the millions. Unions and members of the public are urging the council to take the responsibility to run the pools off Kirklees Active Leisure so children don't miss out on vital swimming lessons. The operator is currently holding a review which will ultimately determine which of its centres will close.
Children's bus tickets in South Yorkshire are set to rise, with local leaders warning to horrific cuts to funding. The proposal from the region's combined mayoral authority is to raise the fare from 80p to £1 in November and is blamed on the lack of government support. The Department for Transport says it's giving the county more than £500 million for public transport over 5 years.
Well, after calendar, it's the ITV Evening News, of course, so here's a look at what's happening with Lucrezia Millerini.
A culture of cruelty, the verdict following the murder of a 10-month-old baby. Jacob Croucher's mother and stepfather are convicted over his death after a month-long trial. Donald Trump is indicted over his alleged attempt to overturn the 2020 presidential election, claimed to have fueled the January 6 riots. Now, soaring energy costs are now leaving millions of struggling households in the red. And come for free, the offer from Greece's Prime Minister to those whose holidays were cut short by wildfires. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, it's nice to have Chris with us tonight in the studio, and he's going to like this bit because it's sport. And in just 2 days' time, the football season kicks off again. 10 months of ups and downs for fans across the region.
Yeah, this is where I come alive. Down in League Two, there's renewed optimism at Doncaster Rovers after a dismal season last year saw them record their lowest finish in 2 decades.
But after a busy summer, 10 new players have arrived and manager Grant McCann has returned for a second spell in charge, and there's renewed hope. Arif Ahmed reports.
Hundreds of kids felt like professional footballers as they played on the Doncaster Rovers pitch this summer. They're on the start of their footballing journey, but one man who's coming to the twilight of his is new signing Richard Wood. But even at 38, he's still experiencing new beginnings.
Yeah! Come on. Brilliant stuff. It's like just being at school. Like when you go to a new school, don't know anybody, trying to work out names quickly. I knew a few faces, but I know everybody now. I've settled in really well. Lads have took to me really well, I think. And it's just been nice. It's been like a fresh start for me.
With over 350 games under his belt, he's joined from neighbours Rotherham.
Take your time with it. Take your time, set it up. Whatever you want to do.
And add some much needed experience to a team that last season had their lowest finish in 20 years. What's the aim for the season?
In my eyes, promotion. That's why I've come here. That's why the manager signed me. That's the message he gave to me. It feels really positive atmosphere. The whole atmosphere around the club, the fans. It's got a feel-good factor about it, and you just got to set your sights high, aren't you? And promotion for me.
He's just one of 10 new faces to join the League Two side. One familiar face that has returned is manager Grant McCann. The Northern Irishman won the League One title with Hull City 2 years ago. Now he wants a similar experience in his second spell in South Yorkshire.
To come back here and give this a good go this year was important for us, and we're coming in here with our eyes wide open a little bit. We want to try and have a really good season this year. We feel like we've got a squad capable of being right in the mix. So it's now the proof's in the pudding. You know, we want to go and produce that on the pitch now.
These kids aren't quite old enough to play for the first team yet, but they'll be cheering on the more experienced players this season. Arif Ahmed, ITV News, Doncaster.
So there we are. You've had your sport. Are you happy now?
I'm very happy, yeah. We've got good luck to Donny. We've got Barnsley tomorrow night. It's fine weather for football, isn't it, Kerry? But not so much for other sports. The 100 starting tomorrow up at Headingley.
Is it? I believe you, I believe you. Tomorrow's better than today, that's all I can say, because it has been really soggy pretty much from the word go. We had a deep area of low pressure, actually one of the deepest in August since the 1980s, and then a secondary one starting to develop out into the North Sea, and that brought gusts of around 35 miles an hour for the likes of Bridlington, and just constant stream of rain during the course of this afternoon, and it brought 2/3 worth of a month's worth of rain across many parts of the North York Moors, and from the likes of Whitby, Skipsea down to Scarborough and Bridlington. That's all trying to break up now and sink its way southwards, but we still do have a weather warning in place until around 8 o'clock tonight for that soggy situation out there at the moment. Gosh, if I can put my teeth in! We've got some photographs. As you can see, this is Whitby, can you? I think it's Westcliff in Whitby. A big thank you to June Hornby for that shot. Very poor visibility, but the sunflower's looking great in Denby Dale. A big thank you to Colin. Yeah, not many birds on the bird feeder in Tuxford in Nottinghamshire. A big thank you to Sam Phillips and also to Kev. The sunflowers providing all the sunshine during the course of today with all that rain. And this is Milo. This is normally his pathway, which has become a bit of a lake, but he doesn't look too sad about that, does he?
He's loving it.
Yeah, he's loving it. It's everyone's asking me when it's going to change, and probably the second half of next week's looking quieter. That's all I'm saying.
Great.
Told you to that.
Milo's coming to get you there. Now, finally to the ladies' barbershop group from Leeds, who've been singing for nearly half a century, and in a year's time, the White Rosettes will reach the pinnacle of their career so far.
Yes, they'll be competing for the first time ever on an international stage against groups from across the globe in the hope of being harmoniously crowned as the best in the world. Sarah Clark dropped in on one of their rehearsals.
Be careful what you do, there may be someone watching you. Remember those eyes in the night, the night, the night.
Practice makes perfect, and pitch perfect is precisely what the White Rosettes from Leeds are aiming for. In a year's time, they head to the States for the biggest competition in the group's 46-year history, the prestigious Barbershop Harmony Society's international contest.
I'm proud and excited. I mean, this is a year off. I'll be exhausted by then, but yeah, very excited. So this is men and women competing for the big title.
Musical director Sally McLean has created her own specific arrangement to make sure all 63 members sing in harmony.
The chorus is 4-part harmony, bass, baritone, lead and tenor, and I place them on risers, which is how we stack our chorus so they look like an arc, and I place them depending on their own voice tone, so that people are stood next to one another who sound like one another, and it makes this beautiful blended tone.
For their hearts were full of spring.
Her technique ensured a win in the British Heat last year. But to ensure they hit the right notes and points with the international judges, renowned coach David Sangster is happy to help.
Excellent, nice job, and nice overtone as well. For international contests, one of the things that the chorus has to do is stand strongly in their own ground and not be overawed by the scale of the event. It's in a bigger venue, there's top choruses from around the world, so you're in a parade of champions rather than being the champions of the contest that got you there. So there's ways to do that, and that's some of the things that we're going to be working on.
Since it was founded in 1977, the group have won dozens of awards, including 17 British and 3 European Championship titles. And with impressive wins like these, the ladies have inspired many a singer over the years.
I was looking for something about 20 years ago to sing, and they were on the telly, and I said to my husband, that's what I want to do, because they looked as though they were having such a good time. And they sang a Beach Boys medley, which was ace. It was wonderful. And to go to America and represent, it'll be amazing.
I feel it's an honour to be part of it. I work as a junior doctor at St James's, so I have a lot on my plate, a lot of busy shifts, and it's pretty daunting, to be honest, but I'm trying my best.
And with the best of the best competing in Cleveland, Ohio, it's constant rehearsal from now on to be in with a chance of winning. Sarah Clark, ITV News, Leeds.
They were great, weren't they? They always say best to go out with a song, and look what we've done. Wish them all the best.
Well, it's not over yet, Chris, because we've got the weather from Kerry now, so let's get the forecast.
Good visibility on the horizon. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Hello again. Yes, fair to say that it's been fairly unsettled across all parts of the region today. Hoping for a little bit more in the way of sunshine as we head through into tomorrow, but showers or longer spells of rain never too far away. So as we head into Thursday, yes, there'll be brighter spells, but also some showers. Really quite showery across many parts. On Friday could be heavy and thundery. And for the rest of this week, we've got a cool northerly breeze. And then as we head towards the weekend, another area of low pressure develops in the Atlantic, comes towards us, brings a spell of rain for Saturday. Maybe a bit better on Sunday, certainly the better day of the weekend, and then further spells of rain threatening from the southwest, at least for the first part of next week. So in the meantime, for this evening and overnight tonight, the rain in the north sinking south, fragmenting and becoming quite showery, and really quite strong those winds continuing out towards the coast for a time, but becoming a bit drier and a bit clearer and slightly easing off as we head through into the early hours. That's last night's full moon. A big thank you to John Victor of Leeds for sharing. 5:23 and just gone 9 o'clock are your sun times as we head into Thursday. So tomorrow, certainly a brighter start compared to this morning's very wet picture, but throughout the day we will see cloud developing. So variable amounts of clouds, some sunshine and also a few showers. Showers could be heavy, maybe thundery. It will feel a little better in the sunny spells, but with that northerly breeze certainly out towards the coast, it will feel quite chilly at times. As we head towards the end of the week on Friday, we're expecting a line of showers to develop north to south just east of the Pennines. Could be heavy and thundery, maybe the coast doing a little bit better, but a fresher feel here. And then as we head into the weekend, rain on Saturday, showers for Sunday.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There's your forecast, whether you like it or not.
Well, I saw a bit of yellow there, a little bit of sun for us, Ian, towards the end of the
a few
week.
breaks for sure, yeah.
Have you enjoyed yourself tonight?
I've loved it, yeah.
Well, you can come back
Thanks
again
for
tomorrow
making
then.
me so welcome.
Come back tomorrow.
Okay.
That's it. I hope you come back tomorrow as well. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We'll have you back tomorrow. Nice.